1FM KMOX.
All right, welcome into Monday on Rush Hour Sports. And a Monday means it's the three of us, Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler, hanging out with you for an hour with a little bit of sports open line after this one before Billikens basketball. Guys, it's Billikens against Lindenwood today. You got that on KMOX tonight. Got a little local battle going on. Don't sound so excited.
Who wins? Who wins?
Billikens.
For SLU's sake, it better be the Billikens.
Yeah, it better be. It better be. They a little crosstown fun. I will say, separate note. We didn't prepare for this. It's not really a topic of conversation today, but that made me think. I really would like to see more regular matchups with SLU and Mizzou kind of thing. Like let's get that going. I know I've been here 19 years. Bernie, it's probably been going on longer than that, but I know we've been talking about it forever. It'd be nice to have more of that kind of thing happening on a regular basis. It's college hoops. One game's not going to be all end all your chances at a tournament or anything like that.
Yeah, this happens in other states too. So I don't want to act like it's exclusive to Missouri, but yeah, there's always pettiness and paranoia that prevent that from happening. And it's really stupid because these teams will play each other. You got the NIL, you got the transfer portal.
Yeah.
So even if I'm speaking hypothetically here, let's say SLU and Mizzou started a series, and let's say SLU knocked them off a couple times out of three, let's say, right? Does that mean all of a sudden Mizzou's not going to be able to get whoever they want when they recruit? Or
it does not.
Be able to go get whatever they want out of the portal? Or they won't be able to afford players that they really want in terms of NIL? No, of course not.
No.
So there's no reason for these schools not to play each other.
No, I agree.
Well, it's a thing that's based in fear because these Power 5 coaches are worried that when they play this geographic rivalry, that game's going to mean more for them than what they would if they played some version of SLU from another place, and then all of a sudden you're going to have this bad loss on your resume at the end of the year, and you're going to miss the tournament. Like, no, at some point in time, what's best for college basketball, what's best for college football, what's best for sports needs to be the most important thing.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, Wheels and Matt, I am the notoriously grumpy guy when it comes to college basketball. I really don't care about it until maybe you get after Christmas.
I'm with you. It's about January.
I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't care all that much.
Yeah.
I just don't. I can't get invested in it. Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of the early stuff, like there are some good matchups, but it's not really that meaningful until league play. And there's just so much else going on. I mean, let's be honest, man. Baseball just ended, and hockey's rolling. The NBA and the NFL and college football are it's too much. So we get to January, you got a little more time. That's when it becomes a little easier. All right, let's stay on the college theme for a little bit. We talked a lot Friday about Mizzou and A&M. Did not go well for Mizzou. I thought you laid it out great, Bernie, in your video and also on DGS today. Really, really seemed like, anyway, a really poor plan for the passing attack. They ran the ball well, which shocked me, and I give them credit for that. But it's crazy to me that with a running game that worked, you could not find a way to do better by your freshman quarterback.
First of all, I want to say, because I talked about this on the show Friday, I was off base. I thought Mizzou would keep it close. I did think Texas A&M win, but it'd be a close game. And I thought that Matt Zollers, the true freshman quarterback, would play well. He would do a good job. I was off base about that. But the thing that bothered me is that, and I went to Sports Info Solutions to get some help on some of the stuff, but the Mizzou game plan in terms of the passing game was incoherent, incompetent, incomprehensible, whatever you want to call it. Any word that begins with I. Their strategy was to have a true freshman quarterback making his first start and it's against a number 3 team in the country that's got a really good defense and a great defensive head coach and Mike Elko. And what they did was drop him back and have him throw long passes down the sideline all day. And there's some problems with that. Number one, the receivers didn't get open because Texas A&M knew exactly what they were going to do. There was like one big play. That was it. The other thing is they couldn't protect him. When he dropped back to pass on throws that went 20 yards or more, the pressure rate on him was 50%, which is astronomical. So if you can't protect them and your receivers aren't going to get open, and if Texas A&M knows exactly what you're going to do because you're doing it all the time, and so therefore you're predictable, what exactly was the point? What was the point? Where did this game plan come from, I should say. The average depth on his throws in that game was 15.3%. That was the highest among 33 power conference quarterbacks on Saturday who had at least 15 attempts. Why are you having him set up as a sitting duck with no pass protection to just wing it down the field, down the sidelines, and hardly ever use the middle of the field, and just never take advantage of some holes in the defense because Texas A&M left some holes there for you? I thought it was a massive coaching failure. I'm not trying to make excuses for Zollers, right? I'm not saying this because I thought he played well and he didn't. So I'm not covering my behind by saying this. I thought this game plan was just nonsense. This is the best you could come up with after 2 weeks of preparation.
Drink was asked about because the Ahmad Hardy at one point was just a non-factor and literally not in the game, not just not getting opportunities to run the ball, not in the game. And when Drink was asked about that in the post game, he had a really weird answer, and he tried to use Hardy's production as the rationale for what they did, because Hardy ran for 109 yards. Dude averaged 8 yards per carry. A big part of that was getting a 45-yard runoff, but he only carried it 13 times. I know they tried to go to Jamal Roberts. Roberts, to his credit, 17 carries, 110 yards, but it was weird the way the whole thing ended up going down. I'm with you, Bernie, and you gave better numbers and better analysis than I will, but it was just a very odd, weird offensive game plan on a day where you try to take it out, let Zollers beat you in pieces. They gave way too much to him.
Like at Wheels, they never, you know what happens when you have a young quarterback? We all know this, an inexperienced quarterback, no matter how talented he is. And I think this kid's very talented. What you got to do is to get him comfortable. You give him some easy throws.
Yes.
You let him, you let him generate some confidence, get into a rhythm.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesse Palmer, to his credit, brought that up a lot the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Where was that? Where was that? Instead, it's like, hey, we're going to drop back and you're going to heave it as far as you can down the sideline over and over and over again.
Yeah.
What?
I didn't understand it. And honestly, I didn't even understand the question coming up about Ahmad Hardy. They ran the ball for 207 yards. Who cares which guy did it? It wouldn't have changed the outcome of the game. What would have changed the outcome of the game potentially would be having your big play receivers having a chance to do something with the ball in their hands on quick hitters. Where are the slants? Where are the quick screens? Where's the creativity in a short, quick passing game when you know they have an elite pass rush and that they can blitz your guy, and your guy hasn't seen any of those things? And it's not his fault. He just hasn't played because the other guy was playing in front of him. I didn't understand. I'm with you, Bernie, completely. And I think it's inexcusable that you have the talent that they have at wide receiver in that game, and those guys only caught 5 passes because you were shooting down the field the whole game.
They attempt, according to Sports Info Solutions, they attempted 4 passes in the middle. I'm not talking about inside the hash. I'm talking about in the middle.
Yeah.
4 passes, and those 4 passes got like 3 yards.
Yeah.
They didn't throw a pass to the tight end, maybe one. But the thing of it is, wide receivers can run in the middle too, right?
Yeah.
But let me can I just lay this out real quick?
Kevin
and I
Coleman
promise
caught
it's quick.
1 ball.
Right. That's ridiculous. Let me lay this out. All right, Mizzou's played 5 SEC games. This is the state of the passing game, and keep in mind that 71% of the passes were attempted by Bo Prabula this season, with Stuller's the other 29%. In the 16-team SEC rankings, conference games only, Mizzou's passing offense ranks 16th in yards per game, last in yards per attempt, last in passer rating, last in completion percentage, last in catchable ball rate, and last in terms of on-target throw percentage. This is the worst passing attack in the SEC. When the games are played within the SEC. No one is as bad as this. So I have a problem with this because, you see national media, you see local media, and I shouldn't even say local media as much, but Drinkwitz is portrayed as like this creative, really innovative, offensive maestro, and Kirby Moore this and Kirby Moore that. How can you have with the caliber of wide receivers they have, and they have great wide receivers? How can you have a passing attack this awful? And it's not just the quarterbacks; it's also the play design and the play calling.
Yeah, completely agree. And they've had, in fact, almost all their success in recent years has been running the football, which is great. I mean, that's offense too. But they haven't exactly been a great passing team, even when they had guys like Luther Burden, who's super talented. Yeah. You know, you've got 3 guys here that are really talented receivers. And until this weekend, because you're talking about numbers over the course of the year, you also had a 6'7" tight end in Norfleet who's very good. So you've had all of the weapons out there, and maybe and we don't have time to do it now. Let's bring it on the other side. I'm going to throw this at you guys as a question, and then we'll bring this back on the other side of a break. Is it because the coach doesn't trust the quarterbacks? Is that why it's the way that it is? And then also, what does any of this mean bigger picture for Coach Drink? Does any of the struggle against ranked teams, does any of that make him more or less likely to listen to offers if they come through from some of the bigger schools? We'll kind of kick that around coming up next year on KMOX.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original,
dogs down at the Parkway northbound from the U Club Tower up to Delmar is slow right now. Westbound 64, that's still a solid jam. Kings Highway out to Clayton Skinker. Slow to about Big Bend. It's slow again. Lindbergh to 270. Slow approaching the Boone Bridge. Between K and Winghaven, pretty busy, and then just a little slow at 364. South 270 north of Olive down to 64, and then south of Manchester down to about Big Bend's busy. Northbound backs up Clayton Road up to Ladue, pretty solid there. Southbound 55 Arsenal through Bates are on the brakes, but after that, good shape down through Jeffco. I'm Roger Brand at the Michael's Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
Furnace funky?
Then make one call.
And Jerry Kelly will be there the very next day.
Call anytime, 8 to 8, 8 days a week.
And Jerry Kelly will fix your furnace or install a new one the very next day.
JerryKelly.com. This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, it's Monday on Rush Hour Sports. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here, picking up the Mizzou conversation. All right, guys, so I threw out the teaser there on the quarterbacks. So to rephrase it for those that weren't with us at the end of the last segment. So do you guys think that what we've seen in the passing attack design this year, and also, let's be honest, maybe even in the last few years, was a little bit more, was about Drink not having full trust in the guys he has had under center versus the guys he's had taking the ball in handoffs, because they've had some great running backs and they've had the ability to run the ball consistently. Is it a flaw overall, or is it more about his referendum on the guys that he has under center?
I think it's more of a flaw overall, because when you look specifically to the game plan this past weekend, if you don't trust Zollers, then what are you going to do? You're going to try to put some easy passes in there for him the way we just talked about. Instead, he's throwing deep passes over and over and over. So that shows maybe more trust than they need with Zollers. Now, they didn't give it to him as – it's just weird. I keep going back to the same thing. It's just a really weird situation the way it played out. But no, I don't think it has anything to do with a lack of trust because of the type of opportunities and the type of plays they did give to Zollers this past weekend. I just think it's something that we're seeing from Drink as far as what he's doing in his play calling.
Right. Yeah, and they didn't make any adjustments once it was clear. I mean, listen, I thought the worst thing that come out of Saturday was what Caden Green said, the left offensive tackle, who's a heck of a player, by the way. He told reporters after the game, I'm just going to give the synopsis, that Texas A&M kind of knew what plays Mizzou was going to run, and that they were actually calling out plays at the line of scrimmage. And when you are that predictable and your offense is that, whatever you're giving away, you make it so easy to give away. The other team knows what you're going to do before you snap the ball. That's pretty damn alarming. And so the fact that they never adjusted, Texas A&M must have been laughing. They're lining up. They know exactly what's coming a lot of the time. And it was easy pickings. Now, how can you do that with a true freshman quarterback? I mean, that is just absolute incompetence. I'm sorry. It just is. So listen, they haven't had a quarterback, and listen, Brady Cook was a warrior, much respect to him.
Yes.
Yeah, but they haven't had a quarterback with any arms, any real true downfield arm strength since Drew Lock, and Zollers has it.
Yeah.
But it's got to be used the right way. It's like, son, just set it up and just throw it as far as you can down the right side. I mean, that's how
a lot of kids play Madden. Just throw as many bombs as you can.
But the Caden Green stuff, and he tried to backpedal a little bit, but he gave it away. So they've got the worst passing attack in the SEC in terms of in-conference games, and that's all you need to know. And there's really no excuse for that for the talent they have at wide receiver.
Yeah, so I'm with you guys. I think all three of us are on the same page. It's not just a lack of trust. It's something that's a flaw in the system that needs to be fixed and corrected moving forward. So does all of this, what we're talking about with the offense, what we're talking about when it comes to, like, and you laid it out really great, Bernie, their record against ranked teams, their record against winning teams, all leaving a lot to be desired. Does this stuff come into play for the bigger schools that are supposedly thinking about him? Does this make them rethink, or do they think, he'll have more talent with us, he'll get over that, we like this guy?
I don't know, Matt. What do you think? You want to take a shot at?
I don't think it. I think people who want him, where his stature right now in the world of college football, the way other athletic directors think about him, I think is already set. I don't think this hurts him negatively. If anything, maybe this actually pushes him out the door a little bit because now the season, there's no college football playoff for him to be at. And
he'll be out there early on in the process. Yeah.
Right. So, no, I don't think that athletic directors are going to downgrade him. And the bottom line is you're judged on, as a head coach, the ability to bring in players, the ability to work the portal, and that's what he can do. And I'm sure athletic directors out there can say, we'll give you the money that you need for your coordinators and for your coaches if you can build rosters like you did at Missouri, even more because you've got the resources of a Penn State or of a Florida. I still think that's going to be the focus.
The only thing I would say is that how would it play for the fan base? Like, there are scars at Penn State because James Franklin couldn't win the big game. Yep. And granted, he had more talent than what Mizzou has now.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But still, you're going to bring in a coach like, for example, over the last 3 seasons, and this is when Mizzou football has really emerged. The last 3 seasons, Mizzou's 22-0 against unranked teams, which is great at the time of the game, unranked. But they're 5-8 against ranked opponents. But even worse, they've lost 6 in a row against ranked opponents. And, if you go back to, again, starting in 2023, Mizzou's 13-8 in the SEC. There's nothing wrong with that, but it should be better because they're 11-0 against non-ranked SEC teams over that time. But they're 2-8, including an 0-6 record since the start of the 2024 season against ranked teams in the SEC. So if you're trying to sell that to Florida, you're trying to sell that to the fan bases or Penn State, LSU, they're going to say, well, wait a minute. Why? Listen, I know that there's a little bit of a talent gap, but this guy's great in the portal. He's getting all these players that people didn't think he could get. Why do they come up so short all the time against ranked teams and really good SEC teams? I think it's a fair question. I don't think it's an illegitimate question at all.
Yeah.
And also, one more thing, they're trending the wrong way. Again, this 3-year period that began in 2023, their first 9 SEC games, they were 7-2. Since then, they're 6-6 in their last 12 SEC games. So if you're an AD and you're looking at that, are you like, can I really sell this if people start to look underneath the surface record? I don't know. We'll see, I guess, right? Yeah. What about Arkansas or Auburn? Would he have any interest in their jobs? And could he do more there than he does at Mizzou? Right? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Especially Arkansas, maybe Auburn.
Yeah.
But I also, Bernie, I think the anti-Mizzou bias actually helps him here because athletic directors can go, oh, well, if they can do that at Mizzou,
that's
think
exactly
what they
right.
can do here.
That arrogance of those programs, like, well, with our money and our players that we can get here, he'll win more. But that's a big gamble, I think. I mean, I'm not saying don't do it. He's obviously done a good job at Mizzou. He took it from a really bad place to the point where we're looking at, if the playoffs had been expanded in 2023, the Mizzou would have been a playoff team.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So, they're not far off, and I can see that logic. I just never underestimate the arrogance of those big programs because they always think we can do better with that guy. They just got that same attitude all the time.
Hey, one quick national view from Blake Toppenmeyer, who is a columnist for USA Today, covers the SEC. He wrote this Saturday night, quote, Missouri silver lining, 3 losses in the last 4 games make Eli Drinkwitz a less attractive candidate for higher profile programs. Drink up, Tigers. He's yours to enjoy.
That's a good closing comment.
That's one view. That's one view anyway, right?
Yeah, very interesting. All right, we got baseball coming your way after the news. The GM meeting starting tonight, and the offseason's underway. So we'll do some offseason and Cardinals coming up next on KMOX.
At Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, every month.
leafhome.com/free for your free home water test and 15% off. leafhome.com/free.
Bernie Miklasz here. Always proud to talk to you about Saliga Heating and Cooling, a St. Louis institution owned by the same family since 1927, taking care of generations of St. Louis families. I love that. And listen, we're one of those families because for 17 years, we have come to depend on Saliga Heating and Cooling for not only our heating and air conditioning needs, but also other things that they can do, like indoor air quality, just one of many other examples. So we've been relying on them. And I can tell you, after 17 years, that we believe in their honesty, integrity, and their professionalism, their knowledge. They can find solutions to anything, even if it's kind of a problematic area you're worried about, like one room in your house can't get cold or it can't get warm in the winter, things like that. And we have also found, and I think this is huge, we have also found out every single time Saliga has looked for low cost solutions to our problems to save us money. They're not looking to run up a big bill, and because they want your business, they want your loyalty, and they have to earn it. They have to earn your trust. And that's what they've done for the Miklasz family. So I recommend them across the board for everything they do. They believe they have to work hard and be honest enough and have the integrity to earn your trust. That's a really comforting reality when you're trying to figure out who to call for an emergency. The Priority Club is a maintenance plan. It's going to save you money by extending the life of your current equipment. We have saved money with this at the Miklasz home. You can save money with this as well. So if you want to find out more, including the phone number, go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
Let me tell you one of the reasons I think we became the largest injury firm in the world, and it's not even close.
throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Rush Hour Sports continues on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
All right, it's Monday on Rush Hour Sports. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you. Switching to baseball here. Obviously, the GM meetings are underway now. The winter meetings are a few weeks away still, where all the deals start to get done. This is where the groundwork is laid for a lot of the trades and a lot of the free agent signings that are going on. We get, guys, it's a pretty common theme at this time of year in baseball for baseball fans, people who talk about it on the radio, podcast, whatever, to talk about the structure. And, you know, it's not as exciting as the NFL free agency opening or NHL or NBA free agency for that matter, because it's not a capped league. Would you guys just kind of leave it alone if you had the ability to tweak some things, or are there things you'd like to see Major League Baseball do a little differently to kickstart things when we get to this time of year?
I've said before, I'm sorry, Bernie, but I'll just say
go ahead, please.
My plan on this would be hold everything till December 1st. That's kind of when I think that's when the league year starts. I know that's when the CBA expires. So because what the owners will lock out the players on December 1st next year. So hold everything to December 1st. That gives teams the opportunity to hire managers, hire president of baseball operations, get everything that you want in place. Then you create a 1-week period where negotiations can take place without signings. And then you open up free agency a week into December, right as the winter meetings are getting started, because from a health of the sport standpoint, you have so much of an attention and spotlight on baseball during the winter meetings. Let's make things actually happen then. So if I was the czar of baseball, that's my plan. That's what I do to create a little bit more action in free agency.
Well said, man. Totally agree. Yeah, it's very strange to me. And even though Major League Baseball is actually doing much better in terms of TV ratings and home attendance, they really are.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing, though, because they basically destroy their own offseason every year because nothing happens for months, right? So you're very well said, Mr. Matt Pauley. The one thing I would add, and I'm going to be a smart aleck here. If Rob Manfred and the owners are so worried about the cost of baseball, the cost of salaries, the cost of this, cost of that, they want to eliminate minor league teams, which they've done, all that stuff. Here's an idea. You don't need the general manager meetings in Las Vegas or any other place. There's a thing called Zoom. And you can set, they can do the same damn thing on Zoom or StreamYard or any other service without having to spend a fortune in Las Vegas or some other resort every single year at this time, because nothing happens during the general manager.
No,
they have a lot of conversations.
They have a few votes here and there. Yeah.
Have the conversations on Zoom, save some money.
I got to tell you, man, I agree with you. I was going to bring it up in a different way, but the cost-effective thing is great because I feel like the GM meetings are a waste of time for the general public. Like, I don't think we need to make this a thing. These guys, it's not 1980. These guys are texting each other all the time. They're in contact regularly. And for any meetings or votes or anything like that, you can just do the Zoom. You can just do any kind of version of that. I feel like this breaking it up into two things wastes our time. And I know that, we'll hear from baseball people that, this is where we lay the groundwork. Okay, sure. But you can do that with texts and phone calls and Zoom meetings and things like that too. But let's just, I don't know. I like that kind of combines what you said and what Matt says, right? Because if we push it all back to the winter meetings and we don't do anything except have a period of time where you can talk to people, but you can't sign them, I think this would be a little bit more exciting and at least give us a chance to have some buzz, because this is it's too early. The World Series just ended and you're not going to do anything. So what's the point? What
groundwork are they laying? I'm not trying to be a jerk here.
They always say that.
No, the base for the last 3 or 4 years, the baseball winter meetings have been the most boring thing in the history of mankind because nothing gets done. If they were actually laying groundwork, then there would be results of said groundwork. Yeah. There's not. Yeah. In some years, the free agent market doesn't really pick up until late January. So no, there's no, if the free agent market was buzzing around right at the beginning of December, then okay, I'll buy the idea that the GM meetings are an important thing to lay said groundwork. But no, that's not happening.
Here, I'm going to throw one more smart aleck thing in. I'm going to use Chaim Bloom just because I need a hypothetical example. So, like Chaim Bloom and his colleagues. So what are they going to say why they need to be there in person in Las Vegas or something? Like Chaim Bloom's going to say, listen, for me to get a deal done with this team, I have to be able to look at the other GM. I have to look into his eyes in the same room. I have to stare into his soul before we can make a deal. Yeah. I mean, it's really kind of stupid, isn't it? Then the media,
they do all of this. They do all of this, by the way, at the trade deadline without meetings.
Right. Thank you. And listen, don't get me wrong. I know there's some benefit. MLB Network, and I'm not taking a shot at MLB Network.
No.
They can set up shop for the general manager meetings and get all these interviews on set and all that. But in terms of action and like feeding the fan interest and to get the fans fired up, or all these media companies that spend a ton of money to send people there, reporters there, it's a waste of money, basically. Is it really necessary? I personally don't think so.
I think it's a good call. All right. Next up, I got a question for you guys related to this offseason. I think there's a way that this could benefit the Cardinals, this topic that I want to bring up, but stew on it for a minute. Do you guys, I feel like this happens every time there's a labor deal, that there are a certain number of teams, I don't know what percentage, but it's a lot, who use that as an excuse to not do anything that year because it's a labor year. And could that actually play into the Cardinals' hands a little bit? We'll talk a bit about how those two things could go together coming up next.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is
traffic both ways running through there right now as well. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, Rush Hour Sports getting ready to wrap up here in a few minutes. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, and Kevin Wheeler here. Matt, you got a little sports open line tonight leading into hoops?
I do. We're going to have Natalie Jones, who's the sports director at the ABC affiliate in Columbia. We'll get her thoughts on what happened with Mizzou this weekend. We'll hear a little bit from Jim Montgomery, and we'll get out of the way for Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. as they've got Billikens basketball tonight. All
right, Billikens against Lindenwood tonight here on your home for the Bills KMOX. All right, so I teased you guys with that question. The offseason, these off seasons leading into labor years tend to have this trend where a bunch of teams, I don't know what percentage, maybe you guys want to guess it. I don't know that it is, but it's more than usual. We'll kind of be like, well, we want to be extra cautious because we don't know what the labor thing's going to be. And I think a lot of teams use it as an excuse to not do anything and justify to their fan base why they didn't make any big deals or get out into free agency or anything like that. I think that's happening already. I expect it to be a theme this offseason. Do you guys think that this could be something that benefits the Cardinals, who have some guys on shorter term deals that could be attractive to contending teams, where you're not in free agency looking at a 5 or an 8 or a 9-year deal? You're looking at 1 or 2.
I would think so, because it limits liability and any concerns over what a new collective bargaining agreement will look like after the war is over. So, yeah, I would think in general, yes, it would help a team like the Cardinals, who are looking to trade guys that based a lot of their value based on the fact that they only have 2 or 3 years left on their cost controlled contracts, which is it's pretty valuable in this climate.
I'm not sure. I've been thinking about this, and I know I'm supposed to have an answer, and I've been going through all the different scenarios in my head. Like, is Brendan Donovan more valuable now because a team doesn't want to go give a guy a 7 or 8 year deal? Like, I guess, but I think it's negligible. I think on the other side of it, if the Cardinals were in a more competitive window, then maybe this could be advantageous to them, because they could maybe go get a guy under value if they were willing to give him 2 years or 3 years when the rest of the market only wants to give him 1 year. But again, the Cardinals aren't in a competitive window right now. So, I mean, I can squint and see it. I'm not trying to be dismissive of what Bernie just said. I'm not convinced that it's going to be as much of an advantage as maybe some might think.
Yeah, I think it will be. And I don't think it's like a game changer, right? I don't think this is, well, now you're going to get a top 20 prospect for Sonny Gray. That's not what I'm trying to say. I think what I mean is, I think you'll have more teams engaged on that rather than a free agent pitching class heading into a labor year that has its questions. I mean, Dylan Cease is one of the top guys. He strikes out 200 guys a year, but his ERA is like a roller coaster. It goes up and down from year to year. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 5. Framber Valdez is kind of the most consistent guy out there. Are you going to give him 8 years? I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's a big enough star there. I think the point that I would make is maybe it changes the number of teams that would be interested in a Donovan or whatever in a free agent year that A, isn't that great, and B, I don't know why these guys are as cautious as they are. Maybe it's fake caution, guys. I don't know. Maybe it's all posturing we didn't want to do this anyway, so we just throw it out there to our fan base so they go, oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I totally get it.
And just to kind of add on to this, because this is related, the one thing definitely I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out is whether teams will use the collective bargaining war, which is coming, as a reason to withdraw from the market or to lower their level of activity in the market. Like in Chicago, and I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong, but there's a lot of media in Chicago who are already roasting the Cubs.
Yeah.
Because they're saying, well, they're going to use this as an excuse not to pursue Tucker, not to do this, not to do that, to kind of play it maybe more conservative in terms of free agency. They have all the money in the world to spend. They can spend whatever they want, but they're looking for reasons not to spend money. Now, that may be accurate to an extent. That may be exaggerated. I don't know. But that's why I'm interested to see how many teams will play that game. Not only not next offseason, but I'm talking about even this offseason.
Yeah.
Because it would affect the long-term contract.
Yeah, historically, though, the big money guys have still gotten theirs even in CBA years. So when we're talking about when you're talking about Framber Valdez, or you're talking about guys who are going to get 6, 7, 8 year deals, we're talking about the top end of the free agent class. And yeah, there might be a team like the Cubs, to Bernie's point, that might sit this one out, but that's nothing new. The Cubs have played this game before. It is.
I know the Ricketts are so poor.
Yes, they are.
They don't sell out their stadium 90% of the season or anything like that.
They don't have a successful TV network.
They're not in a big market. Yeah.
No, Matt, to your point, you're absolutely right on, man. Like the big boys that are going to go get what they want no matter what, they won't care about the CBA. You're right about that.
Dodgers and Yankees, they're going to do their thing. Yeah.
Right. But they're going to be some shady franchises that will use as an excuse. I guess that was my point.
Yeah.
And that's going to hurt the middle class. It's the middle class Major League Baseball player that always gets hurt in these situations because teams look at it and say, okay, we can go sign a guy for $6, $7, $8, $9 million and get this amount of production, or we can have one of our own guys and we're going to pay him hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the production won't be quite as what we got with the other guy, but it's going to be just off it. So from a value standpoint, that's what makes sense when we throw it in the algorithm.
Man, it's a fascinating thing.
I like that word algorithm. It kind of gets me excited. I don't know
why. That's because they're built to do that. They're built to follow what you like and give you what you like. Feed the beast is what they're doing. Yeah,
I am a beast. So, yeah. And I like to be fed. So, yeah.
Well, on this show, we got 3 of us that fit those categories. It's going to be. It'll be interesting. I don't know if it's going to be the most pleasant of off seasons because we don't have time for this. I'll save this maybe for another day. I just don't like the way that we've turned labor talks into election years, right? Like it's not enough to talk about the presidential election for 6 months. No, we got to do it for 2 years. And we're doing that in baseball too. And it just pisses me off.
Yeah. Good point, man. Good point.
Yeah.
Really good point.
And it doesn't do anybody any good. It just puts your sport in a negative light. And I wish they had the sense to maybe be a little bit better about that. On that note, we're going to wrap it up, boys. Have a great night. Matt, have a nice short sports open line. And then obviously Billikens basketball coming up after that. So you guys have a good Monday night. Thanks for tuning in. Rush Hour Sports wrapping up. Sports Open Line coming up next here on KMOX.
You've got your whole life ahead.
In St. Peter's, it's 33 in Florissant. Downtown at the Arch, it's 33, but it feels like 26. I'm Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby.
Escalated if they have a hard time finding them. But all that's kind of the side story to what I believe it or not. Yeah, that's the side story. I the business of sports and all aspects of sports, including sports gambling, is something that I have an interest in. And my belief is, and this is not a pro sports gambling or an anti sports gambling sort of thing, but my belief is that legalized sports gambling does help stuff get brought out into the light. Whether it's the NBA situation, whether it's this situation, these sports books have the infrastructure, have everything in place where if there is some unusual betting activity, they're going to be able to catch it, and it's not something that's going to be caught if a lot of the money that's coming in is going to offshore books or going to illegal third-party books, things like that. But whether it's Vegas or whether it's the legalized sports gambling across the country, those organizations are able to spot when some stuff that shouldn't be happening is likely happening. So Major League Baseball, and look, whether it's Major League Baseball, whether it's the NBA, whether it's the NFL, whether it's the NHL, all of these leagues have gotten in bed with the sports betting companies. And we can argue whether or not that is appropriate or not, but it is what it is, and it is not changing. Where that can be a little bit of a positive. And if you're not familiar with the Clase and Ortiz thing, allegedly those two guys would throw certain pitches. Either basically they would throw balls at certain points, and people were able to pitch or bet on individual pitches. So Clase Ortiz allegedly had a deal with sports gamblers that they would get paid to, say, throw the first pitch of the third inning in the dirt, so it for sure would go for a ball, and then all the bettors would win that money. That is what is alleged. Well, Major League Baseball has worked with sports books to try to put something in place to make this less likely to happen. Prominent U.S. sports books are going to establish a nationwide $200 betting limit on baseball wagers that are centered on individual pitches, and those type of bets cannot be included in parlays. So basically what that means is the sports books are going to limit the upside of doing this, where you can't go bet more than $200 on a certain pitch. I love that this is happening. I think it is the right move. We are in a brand new world of sports gambling being legal across much of the United States, including in Missouri on December 1st. In just a few weeks, it's too easy to try to do the type of things that Ortiz and Clase were alleged to have done. And for those guys, it was a really dumb thing that they did, because they sacrificed big time money to make a few $1,000s. But for them, they're going to think through the head and say, what's the big deal? I'm going to throw ball one. I might have thrown ball one anyways. So this isn't a big deal. I can go help a friend out. I can go do this or that. I can make a few dollars. And it doesn't really, this is not throwing a game. This is not doing any of that. So I'm sure that's the rationalization that's being used by these players when they agree to these type of things. So now if you're a bettor and you can't bet more than $200, and the idea of not putting it in parlays is if you get the pitcher to agree to throw 5 different individual pitches for a ball, then you can bring all that together and up the return. Good on Major League Baseball, good on the sports books. Major League Baseball has been in discussions with the authorized sports book partners about this, and it just makes sense. So that's a good step forward. I think the NBA is probably going to do some things when it comes to limits on betting on players' production, especially players who maybe are not main roster guys or G League call-ups, whatever it might be. But more of this certainly does need to end up happening. We are going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk Mizzou football. Natalie Jones is going to join us. She's with us in just a moment here on KMOX.
At Hardee's, every Tuesday is now Tender Bender Tuesday. Right now, download the Hardee's app and join My Rewards. Buy 3 hand-breaded chicken tenders, get 3 free. It's Tender Bender BOGO every Tuesday now through June 2026. This Tuesday, get 3 tenders free. Next Tuesday, get them free. The Tuesday after that, you guessed it, free. Buy 3 tenders, get 3 free. Another great benefit for My Rewards members. Only at Hardee's. Registration and app required. Available for limited time at participating restaurants. See app for terms.
This fall, get a taste of what's to come at Dragonstone, an exclusive new Lombardo Homes community in Darden Prairie, west of Highway K and south of 364. Join us Saturday, November 15th at our Inverness display in O'Fallon for a grand opening celebration filled with treats, a cozy coffee bar, mini pumpkin pies, and a first look. Dragonstone, building Tradition Series homes and offering only 5 spacious home sites. Dragonstone offers luxury and privacy, as well as the convenience of living just minutes from Highways 364 and 64. Visit LombardoHomes.com for more information.
i3 Broadband, they are the internet service provider at my home. I would love for them to be the internet service provider at your home as well, because I would know that you as listeners to KMOX, you as listeners to Sports Open Line, have the absolute best internet service in your home. I love it. I've never loved my internet service before until I got i3, and then I realized how much better, how much different it could be. I'd accepted the fact that I was going to pay too much. I had accepted the fact that I was just going to be stuck with random dropouts for no reason all the time. Well, I don't have that anymore with i3 broadband. 100% fiber internet. Everything's underground, so you don't have to worry about the weather impacting the availability of your internet service in your home. And no matter how much you need, they've got a package for you. They've got plans for all kinds of budgets. All you got to do is head to the website, i3broadband.com. 1 gig, 2 gig, 8 gigs are available. They always mirror and upload download speeds. All you got to do is i3broadband.com or give them a call, 877-976-0711.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
We are covering what's going on in Ferguson right now.
We are hearing a word that we haven't heard here for years. That word is riot.
On the scene, trying to get into this area, KMOX's Michael Calhoun.
They just broke the window of the AutoZone across the street. People are walking out with batteries in their hands.
There is a building, a beauty salon building, and the back of that building is on fire.
I'm Carol Daniel. Our continuing coverage of the unrest in Ferguson continues.
There's sparks rising from West Florissant. There goes another tear gas canister. Everybody is yelling and running.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by Together Credit Union. Achieve more with competitive rates on savings and lending. Visit togethercu.org.
For 100 years, KMOX has been part of St. Louis. Now, Together Credit Union is helping celebrate that legacy. Starting in November, visit any Together Credit Union branch to pick up a KMOX 100th anniversary commemorative ornament for just $5 while supplies last. Each ornament supports Children's Miracle Network of Greater St. Louis. Together Credit Union, honoring 100 years of KMOX, the voice of St. Louis, and Children's Miracle Network of Greater St. Louis, improving the health of all children.
This is Mike Grimm, former host of the KMOX Sports Open Line. Congratulations to America's greatest radio station, 100 years strong as the voice of St. Louis.
It's Graybar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. We're taking you to about 6:45 tonight. We're done early for St. Louis University basketball. They're going to match up against Lindenwood coming up this evening. Right now, very happy to welcome back onto the program. She is a St. Louisan. She is the sports director at ABC 17 in Columbia. She is Natalie Jones. You follow her on Twitter at NatalieABC17. She spells Natalie with an H, so Nathalie. Natalie, thanks for taking some time with us today. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
So a little bit of a bummer for Mizzou this weekend. It was going to be a tough task to beat Texas A&M, but it turned into a game where, especially offensively, they just did not match up. Where do the Tigers go from here?
Well, it's tough because, I was just talking to some folks this weekend, and it feels like in this 12-team playoff world where you get your third loss and you're out of playoff contention, it feels like the season's over, doesn't it? It kind of had some finality to it. It almost felt like. So now, of course, if you're the Tigers, you're looking at a bowl game. They're already bowl eligible for the season, and you want to finish out the season out strong. I think that speaks to the culture. I think it's important for them to finish out these final 3 games strong. But it's kind of weird where things sit in this college football playoff universe. I think it's great because teams are engaged so much longer than they would have been in the past when it was 4 teams. But once you kind of get that third loss and you're out of contention, it really does feel like, all right, is it hoop season now, right? So you're finishing out these last 3 games. But like I said, for Drinkwitz, I think the big thing is the culture piece for him here. I mean, he wants to finish these out strong, especially when you look forward to the next season ahead and the guys that are going to be sticking around.
A lot of people look at this game as the game that knocks them out of playoff contention, but is it more appropriate to kind of go back in time and really look at the Alabama game and the Vanderbilt game and say, those were really winnable games, and if you win those games, a loss against Texas A&M has different implications?
Yeah, you see, in my mind, those losses should be more painful for the fan base, right? I get this was kind of the one that was really like, all right, it's done, right? Like, there's no chance of going to the playoffs, really, right? But Alabama, Vanderbilt, you had a chance. It was a one-score game. You were right there. That would be a breakthrough win for this program. It's something they've been so close to so many times over the years. And I think those would be the frustrating ones if it was me in the fan base, right? So I do think those were kind of more the final punches, right? When you're a playoff committee and you're looking at, those close games, I think those were more damaging to what Mizzou was doing this season than the Texas A&M one. I think Texas A&M is one of the best teams in the country. Mizzou had a lot of odds stacked against him. I don't think this was an unexpected result going into this game.
So a lot of people look at the record against top 25 teams under Eli Drinkwitz. It's not great, but very few coaches have great records against top 25 teams because you're playing good teams. But at what point does the fact that they are having a hard time breaking through, what does that mean for this program? How do they break through? I mean, just that whole situation, because that's what's keeping them out right now.
I can tell it's frustrating for Coach Drinkwitz. I mean, he was asked about his record against top 25 teams in the post-game press conference, and he sat there silent for probably about 8 seconds, and said, they're all good teams. I think it just speaks to how hard it is to break through in the SEC. I think if you're in a different conference, if Drinkwitz, I mean, you saw his success when he was in the Sun Belt, but I think if you even go to another power conference, it's maybe a little bit different, but the SEC is just so loaded that it's hard to break through in those games. So I do think it's a frustrating thing. I don't know what the next steps look like. I think Drinkwitz needs to have that breakthrough win. He's had great wins as Mizzou's head coach, but I don't think he really has that signature win, the breakthrough moment for this program. And I think that's what he's really set the expectation as. I think that's why the fan base is a bit frustrated at this point, because a bowl game is no longer the expectation. I think he's set the standard that, okay, this team is talented enough to get these kind of breakthrough wins. I think he has the talent. Now he has to find the winning moments to go win those games, and obviously he hasn't found those yet.
How important is to, and I'm not trying to say that the guy can't handle things emotionally or anything, but Matt Zoller's going through that. That's a tough day for a young quarterback. What's the steps moving forward just to make sure that doesn't mark who he is for this season, and that he does continue to take steps forward?
Well, and that's the bad thing about putting a true freshman in a situation like this. It's a bad situation to have to put him in, because I think Matt Zollers has an incredible natural talent. He has a great arm. I mean, we saw it all throughout fall camp. I think it was a thing where he just needed to sit and develop this year, right? And then you kind of get thrown into the fire. You don't want it to hurt his confidence. That's the thing. I mean, it was a rough game. I mean, if you go back and watch the tape, the offensive line didn't have its best day, but there's a lot of moments where the pocket was clean, and he just didn't make the throw, right? The throw was off the mark. I think when he was trying to throw deep, it more felt like a Hail Mary than anything. There was a couple good throws to Donovan Olubade, which I think he's gonna make an impact for the Tigers for years to come. But Matt Zollers, you don't want it to impact his confidence much. I do think it's tough, because how could it not, right? I mean, it's such a national scale. I think this week it's on his teammates, you know what I mean, to kind of be in his corner and encourage the kid. I think a lot of it's going to be encouragement and just blocking it out, because on a stage like that, how could it not damage your confidence a little bit?
And Drink did mention after the game just the defensive game plan and the scheming from Texas A&M. That's, in the long run, hopefully that's good that Zollers gets to see that, but he's probably never seen anything like that in his football life.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's great experience. I think next year, Mizzou fans are going to be really happy that he's experienced this kind of thing, right? But I think fans need to be patient. He's a 19-year-old kid that just got thrown into this whirlwind, and his first start was against the third-ranked team in the country. And I think the Vanderbilt game, a lot of people looked at that one. He played well, right? He came in and he did a good job, but he didn't have any time to think about going into that game. It was all adrenaline, right? He had 2 weeks to think about starting against Texas A&M. That's a completely different ball game. So yeah, I think Matt Zollers, you're going to love the experience he's getting in the future, but right now it's not going to be great to watch right now, as he's kind of learning, and the SEC, what a place to kind of get thrown in.
Just a couple more minutes with Natalie Jones. Since we have you, Missouri basketball underway, 3-0 start to the season. A lot of people were not happy with the performance against Southeast Missouri. They squeaked out a win. Then they followed that up yesterday with a pretty dominant win against VMI. It's so early. It's hard to read anything from these games, but what do you take away from the very early portion of Missouri basketball season.
Well, yeah, I think their path to 2-0 maybe wasn't what they wanted going into that VMI game, but I think VMI kind of showed when Mark Mitchell and Anthony Robinson are firing on all cylinders. This team, I really think, could compete with anyone in the country when those two guys are having their nights, right? And I think you kind of saw the effect of that in the SEMO game. Like, look, I think SEMO's maybe a bit of a better team than people are giving them credit for as well. I do think they're a solid team, but when you look at that game, it was sloppy basketball. I mean, it was just straight up. That first half was one of the sloppiest halves I've seen from Mizzou basketball in quite some time. So I think it's just cleaning up stuff like that. I don't read too much into games like that. At the end of the day, you get the win, right? But I don't think it really speaks to the talent of this group. I think it was a sloppy night. I think Anthony Robinson and Mark Mitchell both weren't firing on all cylinders that night. And I think you saw what happens when they both are against VMI. That's the Mizzou basketball team that I've kind of seen in the offseason. You know, that high scoring, high powered, fast paced. That's what we've seen here in Columbia throughout the offseason.
Natalie Jones, sports director at ABC 17 in Columbia and Mid-Missouri. Natalie, thanks so much for taking the time. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll take a break. Have more coming up in just a moment. This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM. Visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hey guys, Dave Glover here for the Dave Glover Show. So what is my show? My show is 4 different people living 4 different lives, all coming together every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. to talk about life, actual life, not so much headlines or did you see what Trump did today or XYZ. Never predictable because I never know what I'm going to talk about from one segment to the next. So it truly is unique and unpredictable. Join us.
104.1 FM, KMOX.
You know Gray Bar for electrical parts. But there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
This holiday, give the gift that lasts all season long. Cardinals ticket packs are on sale now, starting at 5, 6, and 10 games. All packs include 2026's top games and favorite giveaways. Backed by popular demand, choose from the opening day pack or the bobblehead pack. Check out the Cubs pack, weekend pack, or apparel pack. There's a pack for everyone. Find your perfect gift right now at cardinals.com/tickets.
And that's grounded up the middle. Diving play. Mason Wynn to his feet. He throws. He got him.
Busch Stadium isn't just a ballpark. It's where St. Louis comes alive. It's where every pitch matters and every cheer feels like home. Season tickets put you right at the heart of it all. And now there's a new way to be all in. Introducing 20-game season ticket plans. Get all the season ticket benefits with more flexibility than ever. Don't miss your chance to own your piece of 2026. Learn more at cardinals.com/tickets.
The countdown to kickoff starts here. Friday's focus on Mizzou, the Chiefs, and the NFL. Only on KMOX.
Back at it on the Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. We're going to get done here in just a few minutes as we'll get out of here early tonight. We've got Billikens basketball. They match up against Lindenwood, and our coverage is set to begin at 6:45 with Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. Before we get out of here for the night, let's listen in a little bit to what Blues coach Jim Montgomery had to say today. Blues last played on Saturday when they could not hold a lead against Seattle, lost in overtime 4-3, despite having a 3-2 lead fairly late in that game. Back at tomorrow against Calgary, and then they'll also play Philadelphia on Friday and Vegas on Saturday during what is a 4-game homestand for this team. They got after it during practice today. Also, practice felt a little bit different as they had loud music that was playing during practice, just a bit of a different vibe. And Jim Montgomery explained what they were trying to accomplish by doing that today.
It's not to keep the mood light. It's we need more energy. That's why we brought the music. I think for 5 out of our last 6 games, we've played pretty good hockey, yet we're 2-2-2. So, when you're not winning, it doesn't matter what sport, you're not happy when you're on the rink, but our energy is low and we choose our own energy, and I want our energy to be up. I want us to be talking louder than the music. So we're demanding pucks. There's a couple of reasons for it. It wasn't just get guys to put smiles on their faces. I want more energy.
Jake Neighbors has gone onto the ice a little bit as he's taken one step in his recovery process. He was also the guy, evidently, who was choosing the music today. Despite the fact that he's been on the ice, sounds like there is still a ways to go with Neighbors being ready to be back to game action.
If you're asking a timeline, I still don't have a timeline because there's a lot of steps to hurdle. Like, he's past the first step, and there's probably 6.
The Blues do make a roster move in front of tomorrow's game as Logan Mailloux, he was sent down to Springfield. He's just had a hard time being in every game NHL defenseman. He has really struggled. So now he'll go down and he'll be able to work on some things. They have brought up Hunter Skinner. Skinner has dressed in 11 games for the Thunderbirds this season, has 1 goal, 1 assist, 4 penalty minutes. He came over to the Blues from the Rangers in a trade back in February of 2023. And Montgomery gave his thoughts on what he has seen so far, and also going back to training camp from Skinner.
Energy, physicality, attitude. Plus, he has a lot of confidence and poise with the puck. For someone who's, that I don't think people would describe him that way as this type of player.
We are expecting some line tweaks, as tends to be the case with this team. It looks like Oscar Sundqvist is going to be back into the lineup, likely to be the 4th line center, which means Nick Bjugstad's going to come out. At least that's the way they practiced today. That is not set in stone, according to Montgomery, but he did give his thoughts. If it does play out that way, which it likely will, what he's trying to do and his thoughts on pulling Bjugstad out of the lineup and putting Oscar Sundqvist back in.
It's more about getting Sonny into the lineup. It's not dead set that's the lineup for tomorrow. Bjugstad, what I love is he's a great pro. He's done really good things, and he was really good in practice today. He's going to be hard to take out.
The third line is an interesting one because Dalibor Dvorsky is centering Dylan Holloway and Jordan Kyrou. First, starting with the wingers, Montgomery said he likes what he sees from Holloway and Kyrou working together.
Well, if they get going, I thought that last year when that line got going, it kind of carried us into the momentum that we ended up building. And those two, their speed, their tenacity on pucks, their ability to finish gives our team a lot of momentum and a lot of mojo.
And then those 2 guys with some experience being on the sides of Dvorsky, Montgomery really feels like Holloway and Kyrou have a responsibility to really lead the way with Dvorsky on that line.
Well, they're going to have to take care of Dvorsky. Now, Shen was taking care of them last year. Now it's them to be leaders and take a young guy under his wing who has incredible potential. He's played really good hockey for us. And, we want to see if there's a spark there, if there's a chemistry.
We'll probably see Braden Shen working on a wing, as he has mostly been a winger here recently. He's the second line left winger between Pugh Suter in the middle, and then Matthew Joseph over on the right side. Montgomery gave his thoughts on what he has seen here recently from Shen working on that winger spot.
I thought he's played really well outside of the Washington game. But that whole team laid an egg in Washington. But, I think he's been getting more opportunities offensively, and defensively, he's done a good job as a winger.
And then final thing from Jim Montgomery, as mentioned, the Blues don't quite have as many games this week. They've got a little bit of time here, so they go from playing Saturday to playing tomorrow. Then they'll have a few days off before they play on Friday again. That gives them an opportunity to get out onto the practice ice just a bit. And Montgomery likes the fact that the schedule did let up here for this week.
Yeah, it does give us a chance to catch our breath because it was a lot of games in a little bit of time. It looked like we were behind most of the average NHL games by 2 games. Now we seem to be 1 game ahead. And this does give us an opportunity to take a breath. I know last night was great for me to be home, watch football with my sons. And I didn't even know the records in the NFL. So it's been a little bit of a whirlwind.
That is Blues coach Jim Montgomery speaking to the media earlier today. All right, that's going to do it. We've got Billikens basketball on the way next. Again, they are going to match up against Lindenwood this evening. So far, so good for the Billikens. They have a 2-0 record, and they are looking to make that 3-0 if they can come away with a win against an inner-city rival tonight as they match up against Lindenwood. One other quick note, this is going to be the last you hear from me this week. We'll have a number of fill-ins for the rest of the week. I've actually got a little bit of a medical procedure I've got to take care of tomorrow, and then I'll be back with you coming up next Monday. So enjoy the week. We got a whole bunch of people who are going to be in here on Sports Open Line for the week, and I'll talk to you again next week. Up next, it's Billikens basketball right here on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.